All right, welcome everyone to the Madison user group. And we're going to do a slight intro, and then we're going to hand it off to Ray from GridMate to kind of talk about how his solution can make complex data simple. And go over. So we're the Madison side of the user group. We work very closely with the Milwaukee side. We originally were one big happy family, and we still are. We're just separated organizationally as far as Salesforce is concerned. But you could reach out to any of the four of us that's on the screen if you have questions or suggestions of topics, or maybe you would want to present yourself. Today, I'm joined with Jen Bowen, who's the co-leader for the Madison side, and I'm Ryan. And then Squire and Rachel handle Milwaukee. That's right, Rachel's on too. Thank you for waiting, Rachel. So why we're here? Well, we're here for professional networking. Basically, we're here to make everyone's life a little bit easier, both for trying to help solve our problems, to sometimes just being an understanding ear for all the terrible things we experience as admins sometimes, and helping us learn. Like Rachel was asking a question about why something was going on with one user when they click to convert a lead and different from another. And we didn't solve that yet, but I know she's going to chime back in when she has solved it, so the information gets shared. And that's exactly what we're here for. We're essentially just here to help all each other. We do want to hear from you. So if you have anything that you would like to present, and it doesn't have to be a 45-minute presentation, it could be a 5, 10, 15-minute thing. And it could be anything from a story that you have as being part of the community to a project that you worked on, regardless if it was successful or a failure, because sometimes we learn most from our failures, or just some little cool thing that you did in Salesforce that you just thought was really cool. There is no such thing as a topic or an idea that's too simple or should be known by everyone. So I will guarantee you, with the number of people that we have in our group and the number of new people that we have that kind of join on and off, someone out there will have no idea. I think it was only 3 or 4 years ago that I learned that you can add multiple fields to a page layout all at once by holding control and selecting multiples and dragging them and dropping them. And I've been doing it for 10 years, and I'm like, I had no clue. Right. So that's something that someone would have thought was really simple. And if they didn't bring it up to a user group meeting, I would never have learned it. There are a lot of other groups kind of within our area that are differently active. Here's a long list of some of them. We do have a list of these out on our chatter group or on the Trailblazer community. And you can just go to trailblazercommunitygroups.com to find them as a whole, in case there are other topics and things that you would like to look at, because we definitely do focus primarily on admin stuff. And if you got a leg in marketing or maybe in the nonprofit, you may want to look at those. I don't have any really particular upcoming events, but we do have the two different calendars you can look at. One that's specifically for Salesforce events, things like Dreamforce, and another one that is more community oriented that will include things like Midwest Dreaming that's coming up in Chicago.
Nope.
And no, Minneapolis.
Yep.
Coming up in Minneapolis. Used to be in
July,
Chicago. Yeah.
yeah, July 17th through the 19th. Midwest Dreamin' is in Minneapolis. And then the Witness Success for 2024 is going to be in Louisville in August 2nd through the 3rd. We like calling those ones out. They're relatively close.
And then before we kind of pass things off to our presenter today, does anyone have anything they want to announce? Job opportunities? Anyone get a new certification or something else they want to pat themselves on the back for? No one? Brad, how about you? I saw your camera turn on.
So I did actually have something. This isn't really an announcement, but I'm working with the DLRS team
Mm,
with the open source commons. And so we're going to have, well, not we're, but there's going to be a new version of DLRS coming out next month. The biggest change is that there's going to be a new wizard for it that's going to be a little easier to use. But one thing that I would like to do in conjunction with that is I am writing the getting started article for the new version, but also we're looking to put together a best practices article because there is a little bit of best practices in like the cookbook section, but we'd like that to be its own article. So if anyone has any best practices, like if you use DLRS and you have any best practices, please, if you'd like to drop them in chat, shoot them to me on LinkedIn. I can drop my email in chat. We would love to have them.
No, Brian, well, or not Brian, Brad. Let's connect because we use DLRS with a lot of our
Oh,
customers.
sure. Okay, awesome. Awesome.
So
Thank
so
you.
yeah, I'll be all right. Anything? Anyone else?
Brett, I just would also encourage you to post it to like our chatter group, just so like those that are
Sure.
not familiar with what DLRS is,
Sure,
declarative
sure.
lookup rollup summary.
Thank you very much.
Um,
Sorry.
that'd be great. I know it's something that we use as well, but you might just hear from folks a little bit more from that perspective too.
Mhm.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. With that, I'm really happy to introduce. That's not me. That's supposed to be Ray's name. Ray Pereira, who's from GridMate. GridMate is a solution that I've used a few different times that I'm just really impressed with. So I'm very happy Ray's been able to take the time to come and kind of share their use cases and why they believe that the tool's pretty well. I should say I also believe the tool is pretty darn cool. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and Ray, you should be able to share. Let's see, did I? Oh wait, I gotta. Where are you? I gotta make sure you have permission to do it. There you go.
Cool. Brian, do you think you could give it to? I have a colleague who's he said his
Sure.
name is, so I want him to run it if it's okay with you guys.
Yeah. Who should it go to?
Nas, Nas.
Nas.
Yeah.
All right, Nas, you should be able to share.
Yep, I can share. Yep, it's coming
Yeah.
up.
Cool. So
Uh,
I will give a quick intro. Oh, is it sharing?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sharing. No, Nas is sharing. Who's sharing?
can
Nas is
you
sharing.
guys can
Okay.
see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just give a quick, intro to me and our team. I mean, Nas and pretty much GridMate. And then first of all, Brian, thanks a lot for giving us the opportunity to present it to your user group over there in Madison. So I'm Ray Pereira. I'm based out of North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, the best place in the US. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we are a North Carolina company. Basically, GridMate is actually I mean, again, I'm just giving you a high level. In 2019, we started supporting it. It has been a free version since 2017, 18. Um, so we on the App Exchange and all that to again, we've been working with Brian I think since probably 2, 3 years ago, and then he's been really helpful, helping us to get to, I mean, helping us to get to where we need to get as well. So he's one of the early adopters of GridMate. So one thing I want to tell you is GridMate is actually built based on the community, because if you even today, if you go to ID Exchange, uh, we started with a related list where editable related list, very basic. And then from there, we obviously started working. I'm just giving you, we have about 400 customers. Everything is built on what customers or what users, admins, architects, whoever needs, that's how it's built. So when Nas has already sharing the he's already sharing his screen, and Nas is a sales engineer. So he will take you through any questions you guys have. You can ask. We just want to show you yeah, just see what it is, and then again, any questions, more than happy to answer.
Cool.
Thanks. All right, go ahead, Nas. Thanks.
Awesome. Hey everyone. So, like Ray said, it's really nice to meet everyone. My name's Nas. I'm a sales and solutions engineer at GridMate. I just want to confirm everyone can see my screen. I'm on the opportunity pipeline page. You guys can see that, right?
Yep, we can.
Awesome. Cool. Right. So user grid. So the component I'm going to take you guys through, and what you guys see on screen now, is the user grids component. A user grid is basically something that we build to empower end users with basically customizable grids that are packed with a bunch of powerful features that basically make data management easy and give you a bunch of productivity hacks. So that's basically what user grids are in a nutshell. What I've done here is basically I've used the opportunity object. I've named that opportunity pipeline. And you can see that I have pagination enabled, which basically means that I'm looking at 25 by 25 records out of a 2,549 records. So the elephant in the room, I guess, is the conditional coloring, Excel like conditional coloring, and that how you can see here by this little legend view to basically see what conditional coloring I've enabled on the grid over there. And that's followed by aggregation, right? So similar to aggregation, a bunch of other Excel like formulas that you can have is you can have averages, concatenates, average minimums, maximums, and all of that kind of stuff on your grid page. And then that's followed by these little links, which are quick links that stem from our filters. How you would create a filter is as simply as just hitting the create new button over here. And then basically once you do that, if I select a filter, I'm going to hit the edit filter button to just take you through how you would create a filter and what the condition essentially looks like. So I've used this example, financial opportunities. The conditions supported are and, or. So we support both and or conditions. We support all Salesforce fields. So the field that I've selected here is industries, includes finance, right? So it's a normal pick list field. I wanted to select finance, so I've selected finance over there. And then once I save that, that's the filter that I see over there. And that's what I see over here. Now, how I get this link to pop up is through this little link button that you can see there. And what that does is basically, if I enable this auto refresh link, I can basically trigger my filter to refresh every 2 minutes. Or if I wanted to happen every 30 minutes, I can set that up accordingly. But the purpose of this is basically, to always be able to look or filter through real-time data. You're not looking at, or you're not required to, refresh your screen again and again, and look at real-time filter data. So these links, you can have multiple links on your grid view. The purpose of this is it prevents all these clicks where you have to click into the drop downs and have to set them up. Instead, you can have all your filters set up, and then you can have those links created, and you can even see within brackets the aggregated number of, or the total number of records within those filters. So if I click into small deals, for example, which is a different criteria, you'll see that the number of records changed from 2,500 odd to 1,900 records. And if I click again there, that'll change accordingly. So this little pin icon over here, right? So the pin this filter basically means that if I click it over there, and if I leave my grid view over here, what that means is basically I'll be defaulted. If I come back into this grid view, I'll be defaulted into this page, into this filtered view, which is financial opportunities. I'm going to unpin that. And then a few other filtering capabilities that you have is the ability to clone a filter. Now, this is pretty cool because I guess if you have advanced filtering criteria, because we support cross filters, you can have more than one condition if you want to, and you can even have grouping on your filters. So we have a couple of use cases where people have advanced criteria. So sometimes it makes sense for them to clone an existing filter, make a minor change wherever it may be relevant, and then they would just have to save it, and then your filter is ready. So again, it's a productivity hack. It just saves you time in terms of setting it up. And then Along with that, you have the ability to share a filter, and you can do that on a user role in a public group. While that is possible, you can also share with read-only access level as well as read and write access level. So you can, it's up to you as to who's able to share a filter and who's able to edit the filters that you're sharing. So those are some of the filtering capabilities that you can see on the top here. But in addition to that, if you want to have something, similar to Excel, you have this little funnel icon on top of each field, which I've enabled on the grid, which is what we call interactive filters, right? So an interactive filter enables you to filter both by a value and a condition. So a conditional filter here is similar to what we did over here, similar to financial opportunities, but filtering by value is something more similar that you would see yourself doing on a spreadsheet. So if I want to look at all closed won opportunities, I select that value and then I hit apply. And then you see that the little funnel is highlighted in yellow. And you see all the 25 records under this page on the closed won group, because I have that grouped. And you'll see that aggregation and you'll see that basically aggregation is also updated accordingly. And also over here, because GridMate supports interactive filtering on multiple fields, not just one field at a time, you can have it filtered on multiple fields simultaneously. You'll see all those fields that you have it enabled on in this little pop-up over here. So if you want to reset all those filters, you simply hit that delete icon there, and then you'll see that that's reset back to your default view. So that's interactive filters view. If I move a bit to the right of my page, you'll see that we have the search insert box. So the cool thing about this is basically that you can actually define what fields you want to search by. You don't have to just search by name or just one single field. Instead, you can actually search by name, stage, I don't know, sponsor or sponsor email. If that makes sense for you, you can do it by even 4 fields if you want to be searching by. You can set that up pretty easily. All the configuration on this page, on this grid, is done in a point click, absolutely no code. So it's pretty much any Salesforce layman can set this up. So that's the search insert feature. And then you have the reload, you have the reload button if you want to do a manual reload of the page. And then you can load more records by clicking on these 3 little buttons here. So you'll see you get 50 records now. That's that. And then you can also have buttons to move between pages. If you want that enabled, we can support that as well. And then you have the config wizard. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on the config wizard, but I just want you guys to get a feel for this as to what I meant when I said point click configuration. There's absolutely no code that you really need. So everything, all the magic on this grid basically happens from the config wizard and a few other places on this grid itself. Because we're an admin user group, I think this might come in a little bit handy. This is a SOQL query, basically gives you the SOQL query of exactly what's happening on my screen. It takes into consideration all my filters and aggregations and the paginations and all the fields that are being running on my screen and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what the SOQL query does. And then you have the freeze columns button there. So freeze columns is basically, if you're on a tablet view, because we're supported on tablets as well, you can actually freeze 2 columns, for example, or even more if that makes sense for you, and actually scroll through your data just like you would on Excel. So that's, as the name suggests, freeze columns. So that's something we have with GridMate as well. And then you have the ability to export, and you can export on a CSV Excel file and a formatted Excel file. So a formatted Excel file is basically, as it suggests, it basically incorporates conditional formatting and all the other, grouping and stuff that you have on your user grid. So that's what a formatted Excel file is. And then if you take the import feature, GridMate has its own import wizard. And how that works is basically you would upload a CSV or Excel file, ensure that you map your fields accordingly with this grid, make sure that all your data is validated accordingly as you want it to flow in to your Salesforce org. And then once you hit next and finalize your import, you have this little tool called the import monitor on the utility bar, which basically what it does is basically give you a real-time view of the progress of your import. If it's a relatively larger import, it'll show you exactly how long it's going to take. And in the instance, you come across any issues with your data, it'll give you an Excel report sort of sheet of any issues that you faced. So that's the import and export feature. I'm just going to take a quick export of my opportunity pipeline. And then once that downloads, I'm going to open that up. Leave that as it is. So what I'm going to do now is basically I'm going to copy paste a couple of records from Salesforce, from Excel rather, into Salesforce, and I'm actually gonna use I'm actually gonna do this for these couple of fields, just a couple of fields, so not all of them. We support all of them, and then I'm going to click on this little pencil icon, which is inline editing. All right, so I'm going to create 3 new records by hitting the plus icon there, and then once I go in there, I do a Control V. You'll see that even a lookup field, I'm able to copy paste from a Excel sheet into Salesforce. So I just selected a couple of fields just to give you guys a quick example, but you can do it across your entire grid if you want to for all your fields. Not an issue. So that's one way to go about it. And that's how we bring the Excel experience into Salesforce, I guess. And then you also have, actually, on inline editing, I want to mention that GridMate supports all Salesforce fields. So pick list, dependent pick lists, normal text fields, rich text fields, date fields, numeric fields, all of it is really supported. In terms of permissions, as an end user, you're able to define all of those things, however you want that to go about. And then over here is the model creation form. So you can choose whether you want this to show up as your page layout. If you have any required fields, they'll be showcased over here. You can have your default values set up accordingly, and they'll pop up over here as well. Yeah, but I'm sure all of y'all are familiar with this. And then the next couple of features that I'm going to take you guys across is a few mass features, actually. So first up, we have mass cloning. So you can clone records if you want to. So those 3 records that I selected over there, I can clone them by simply hitting yes. So if I hit yes, I'll have those 3 records cloned. And then leaving those same 3 records, if I want to do a mass update on the names, I'm going to say demo for Madison user group. Just an example. I'm just doing a mass update on name, but I can do it on all the fields if I want to. And then you'll see that the names of those 3 records basically change. And that's mass update for you. And then if I want to do a mass delete, I can select a couple of records once again and do a mass delete of the 3 records that I selected. So that's pretty cool, right? I mean, it's productivity given back to you. And then you also have the ability to call in a flow if you want, but these are basically quick actions. So if I want to mass select a couple of records, update the stage, for example, qualification to something else, or send a mass email to the emails of the sponsors here, I can do that by simply clicking on this little action. All of these actions, calling flows, are done through the config wizard over here. So it's all point click. It's all a point click setup. So the next area that I have, and I'm almost, I think, done, is the Grid Explorer. Now, the Grid Explorer is sort of your mini BI view that an end user would look at. And the filters tab over here has 2 options. You have the quick filters and you have advanced filters. So a quick filter, to give you an example, would be just if you take an amount field, you can give it a range and filter by that range. Once you hit apply, you'll be able to filter by that particular range, and you can reset it by hitting the delete icon here. You can have multiple quick filters if you want to. Setting up an advanced filter is more or less similar to how you would go about filtering over here, similar to how you have financial opportunities. And then next up, you have columns. Now, what's important to note here is, as opposed to what standard Salesforce offers, we bypass the standard Salesforce limitation of 15 columns on a standard Salesforce list view. We can have up to 30 or 40 columns or fields on a on a list view, and you can incorporate them over here. So all of these fields, I can basically bring them in here and just add them into my grid over here. I'm able to reorder fields if I want to by simply dragging them along the flow here and then dropping them wherever I wanted to. We also support formula fields. So for example, you see this little FX over here and ARR, that's a formula field that I've set up. So if I double click on that formula, you'll see that this is basically a formula field, and then you would set up the formula over here in the body of the little pop-up.
Max, can you show the functions as well, just for them to get an idea?
Yeah, and you have functions as well.
So
So
we follow the Salesforce formulas methodology. Yeah.
yep,
Cool.
you name it, we've got it. And then you have sorting. So when it comes to sorting, you can actually do multi-level sorting. So if I want to do sorting on let's take a date field, for example. Let's take any other field, for example, we can actually do multi-level sorting. So amount as a primary sort, and then, for example, industries as a secondary sort. And you can do that on an ascending and a descending basis, and even reorder those sorts however you wish to. So that's something we support as well. So something that we've learned a lot of our users have found value in. So, and then I mentioned how the stage field was grouped, and this is basically how you would set that grouping. So it's as easy as selecting the field within your grid that you want to group by, which is stage. And then once you have that, you hit apply, and then you'll see that I actually have my stage field grouped. So that's the Grid Explorer. If I was to take you into the split view feature, I'm just going to enable split view, save. Okay, and once that refreshes, I'm just basically going to show you how we bring in a bunch of different objects, so child objects, on a single pane of glass. So what I mean by that is basically I clicked into a record there, and it doesn't have anything. Yeah, basically, if I click into a record that has opportunity products over here, I'm able to see all the products related to this particular opportunity. Let me show you a different example. So this is a similar component on a page layout. But what this is basically, you can see here that I'm bringing in products. So for open opportunities, I'm bringing in products. I'm also able to bring in contacts if I want to. So you can see this is kind of what it looks like. And this is what I meant by, bringing in child objects on a single pane of glass. So you can also bring in a record layout. That's what we call this little thing here. So this is me bringing sponsor information. So this is coming from a contact. And what's important to note here is this has 3 columns as Salesforce supports, but GridMate can even have up to 6 columns if that makes sense for you. So we support that as well. So yeah, unrelated objects, we can bring it into a split view, and you have pretty much the same functionality that you have on your parent grid when it comes to editing and mass updating and stuff like that. You can set that up accordingly for your child objects as well. So you can literally inline edit from the same page itself. Yeah, and then
Nas, could you go to that page? Yeah, so cancel it out. And then from here, we can also call in like your detail record page. Go to the products, please.
Mm-hmm.
And just expand go to the record and expand just to show them. Yeah, so from here you can actually bring the detail record page as well. So really, giving that 360 view of the data that a user needs to see. So we can bring related and non-related, like you saw. So there's no limitation on how many objects, whether it's a custom or standard, that you can actually bring to this view. So this is the grid solution. So we have the best of the both worlds. One, the user grid is actually can create by a user as well. I mean, if they're good at like a power user, and then also can you open Is it okay if I just kind of, Brian, if I
Yeah.
show the again, just to give an idea as well? So go to account,
Mm-hmm.
go to account, and then go open the app builder, please.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I can share my screen. That's a good. It's taking time.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Oh yeah, I swear lightning is slower the moment you start sharing it with other people.
It definitely in Zoom. I've seen that for sure.
Oh, okay. We use Google Meets all the time, so
Yeah, I know.
yeah. So just type GM on the left.
Yep.
Yeah. So guys, what you see here, which is the label GM, it actually comes with the package. So we just showed you the grid solution, one of the grid solutions, right? So if you see, we have a related list, a list view, a feed set, and then also the user grid, and also a pivot grid, which we'll kind of show you pretty fast if you I think we have a little bit of time. So a calendar and then also a map and so on, right? So we have 31 components that comes with it. And also here, basically it's like, you drag and drop, like Salesforce standard components, you drag and drop. And then if you click, can you click in? Yeah. So if you click into it, no, click the,
Yeah, I clicked it. It's loading.
oh, it's just taking time.
This is no representation of your product here. This is just Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the right hand side, I mean, if you see, this is all our properties. So
Yeah.
where you can actually, when I said best of the both worlds, where you can actually create grids and give the users to create their own views and everything at the same time, where the admins want to have the control, not give it to the user where they can just use it only. This is where you can actually do that. So we're pretty much giving best of the both worlds for orgs to enhance the user experience. Yeah.
Right. I'm going to jump in because
Yeah,
one thing I wanted to kind of share, the reason why I like GridMate so much, and I wanted to show it to folks, is it's not uncommon that as admins, we're building solutions that make sense for reports and so forth that are not very user friendly. So for an example, I have a solution where on a campaign, there's going to be multiple campaign members, and each campaign member is going to have its own another related list drill down for all the different things that they're trying to track for that particular person. And you can imagine as a user, if you're doing an event and you're trying to update, that's a real chore because you would have to click into each individual campaign member, get to the related list for the items for that person, update those items, then go back, click on the next campaign member and do it so forth. And what we were able to do with GridMate was essentially create one place where all the data was nested really easily and to the point where the person has no page loads. There's really no clicking in. Everything was very easily visible. First, they could group it so they can see high level from a campaign's member status, but then easily expand out and see all the different items for each of those campaign members, make changes like they were doing in an Excel spreadsheet, go back and really quickly update something like 100+ records within a single pane. And that's a really good way from a user experience to be able to get them to adopt and follow a process that would otherwise be absolutely nightmarish to manage, right? The other reason why I like it is basically what they have up right now. I've played with other grid-like functions, and they're almost always so difficult to configure, where with GridMate, everything's essentially just a lightning component. And honestly, my hardest choice is to figure out what is the right component to start with. But once you figure that out, everything else is easy. Like you don't have to worry about the fact that you don't know what the specifics are. Like if you look down a column style, for an example, you can see there's a whole bunch of stuff within curly brackets. You don't have to worry about trying to figure out what that needs to be because their config tool will let you essentially generate what you need to drop into those sections. So from a standpoint of, you don't need to know JSON, you don't need to know coding, you don't need to know anything but your use case. And the tool itself will basically tell you, okay, this is what you're going to do and this is where you're going to put it.
Yeah.
And
I actually a pretty cool feature that I forgot to show. I'm ashamed about it, but I want to show you this. This is drag to fill. So you can actually drag records just like that. And then you see you have your ARRs. So this is like drag to fill. You can do it top to bottom or bottom to top. So this is something that you can do on inline editing. And this is stuff you've never seen on Salesforce.
Excel drag and drop. And then if you saw the ARR, these ARR feeds, I mean, formula feeds are built on the go, so it doesn't actually create a feed in your database.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. And then also, again, this is the grid. We have a calendar. We have, again, it's entirely enhancing the user experience. However you want to, how orgs want to bring it. So here's another example, which is a forecast. We call it a pivot grid. Imagine, you have your data horizontally, and then you can have you can basically do color coordinate. You can do conditional coloring, and then also edit them. And net revenue is a formula field. So multiple use cases that you can use with this as well. Where in Salesforce there is using the reports, but the report cannot edit or cannot do as much as this pivot grid can do. Yeah, so that's us. Any feedback? Any questions, you guys? Yeah, this is my calendar, but I think we are running out of time, right?
You got about 10 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, I'd love to open it up for questions and stuff too.
Yeah.
I know for myself, I used GridMate. Oh gosh, it's probably like 5 years ago at this point, for a client that I had, and it seems like there's been a lot of enhancements in your product since. How many, like, what is your release cycle, or what enhancements are kind of like, what does that look like in terms of when you have enhancements? How often are they pushed?
So it happens every major releases every quarter. At least we do three times a year, but it happens every week. But these are based on custom features, right? So I will just give you an example. We just added like where you can have your nested grid. We can stack it. We can do what do you call it? Split view. We can bring it as an accordion, and then also you can do it as a tabs now. So things like that. We just we are working with this customer, and then they just requested on I think Thursday, so we added this Monday. So things like that, and we keep adding to the product. So I would say every week there's something going on. Yeah. So yeah.
If I remember my use case a little bit, we were working with opportunities, but we also pulled data not just from the opportunity, we were pulling data from related objects too, all in one grid, which made it super easy for them to just run through their updates. I think kind of like what Brian was saying in terms of just the experience of doing that through Salesforce without having a grid would have been a lot of clicks. And in this way, it made it a lot simpler for them to not only update the opportunity, but I think it was like the related opportunity, like contacts or something like that. It's been a while, but I remember it being pretty cool that I could pull all those things in together.
Yeah, you can do that. Absolutely.
But questions, I'm curious, questions from the group. If anybody has anything, can feel free to post it in our chat, or you can unmute.
I got a question. Is that industries field, is that a multi-select?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's okay. That was cool that you were able to pull it out into Excel and then, you know, drop it back in. So nicely done.
Cool, thanks. Yeah. So
Thanks.
we also support dependent pick list as well, if that's yeah.
Nice.
bring it.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna put it, Brian, if you guys need a free licenses for your DevOps or anything, please do let me know, and I'm more than happy to provide you a free license for your work or anything like that. It's,
I will have to say, out of all the vendors, GridMate is probably been the most flexible vendor I've worked with saying, hey, I know you gave me a free license or a trial license for the sandbox, but it's expired. Can you extend it out? I think he did it for me for like 6 months for one time where it was just like we're not ready yet. No, we're not ready. No, we're not ready yet. And he didn't give me any grief, which was nice.
No, yeah. So thanks, Brian. So if you guys actually need one, let me know. I'm more than happy to provide that. And also, if you guys are working with nonprofits, we work a lot with Brian, so we provide 5 free licenses as well for nonprofits. Just giving you that, hey, if you have anything where your customers need something, more than happy to work with you guys and so on. Yeah, and if I'm just throwing out there, if you guys are working with nonprofits, Brian, this is something we are doing, actually a webinar on Thursday.
Okay.
I can send you the link. So if you can, if you want, if you guys can join that, that'd be great, because we'll have a customer also coming on board, and we'll have just go over the use case that how he actually helped his customer to make sure that they got the use case done, right? How they resolve the problem. Yeah.
It would be neat to be able to see how other customers of yours are utilizing it, because I think there's a lot here. Like it's very powerful.
Yeah, you can drown in the options, but
Right, yeah.
like I have a customer that is going to be bringing in people from outside of their company into Salesforce who's never used Salesforce before. They've been using Google Sheets all this time, and we're planning on actually using GridMate. So when they log into Salesforce, they don't see anything but GridMate. So they get to keep the user interface that's similar to what they're used to, but it's all Salesforce.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes doing that transition for people who are just like living in spreadsheets, that they just have this one spreadsheet, but it's critical to have that data in your CRM. It makes that transition so much easier. Right. Or doing things where having just a dedicated tab for your grids, or having your grid built in right onto your record page. It gives you so much flexibility to be able to put the data in a very easy to consume manner, where the people are actually trying to get to it without doing a whole bunch of clicks.
Yeah. And then Brian, we need to, we'll catch up, because we actually revamp the whole map component. So that's something really cool too. So we didn't get a chance to show here, but I would love to show you later. So it's pretty cool as well. Yeah. And then any ideas that you think we should add the group, which you guys are having issues with in the front end? Anything you guys have right now, just let it know. We'll take notes. And then anytime you can reach out, we are more than happy to. This is what we do. We work with the community, understand what's going on, that we could actually incorporate to our solution. And that's how we've been evolving all these. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
I guess I have one question. Is there like a limitation for the amount of records that you can see?
No, there's no limitation. No. So we have customers using even like So at a given time, we can, I mean, we can show even we can have, I mean, we can update even 50,000 records without any issues, like a synchronizing way. But to show, we can go up to even 500,000. There's no issue. And also one of the other things I didn't show, there's a report table where you can actually bring in any report into a Lightning page as well. So which means that the user doesn't have to go into a report object. They can actually see it in a Lightning page. So we provide that as well.
Nice. So like the limitation that you would see on like a list view, like a standard list view, is not a thing with you guys, and it's the same thing if you're in the reporting tab. That's not a limitation either.
Yeah. So there's no limitation on that. And then also one of the other things is we also work on the community cloud. So that's, I mean, the experience cloud.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think Martin, if I'm doing my math right, the last person that we implemented this, they have something like 1,200 records that they need to see on a given screen, and it loads flawlessly.
Wow. Nicely done.
Thanks. Hopefully, I'm just putting it out. Hopefully, Salesforce acquires, and then there's no issues at all. There will be no issues. Here you go. Take this.
I mean,
Right.
they've tried to do some of what you do a little bit, you know, with conditional visibility, filtering on some related
Reporting
lists, but
inline
it's
editing.
yeah, reporting inline, but it's nothing like what you're doing here. Like there's a lot of bells and whistles that you have that they don't have, that they definitely fall short.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
just like the 2,000 records in a list view is just like that alone is pretty much, you know, that's
Well,
huge.
yeah, and we've created like a custom page where we pull in multiple like list views in for like cases, for example, right? Like my assigned cases, the queues cases, escalated cases. We have just a page of that, but it limits to 30 per list view, and I'm just like, that stinks. Like I can't. I
Right.
need to click in to see all of them, and I would like to have more flexibility on that, right?
Yeah.
So I could see
Cool.
this being a better solution.
Cool. Thanks. And is anyone going for New York World Tour? No.
Not
A
this,
little
not
far for
little
Wisconsin.
far for this group, but it's the 25th of April, right?
Yes. Yeah. It is on the
Mhm.
25th. Yes.
You
Yes.
guys will be there, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yes, we are going to be there. We'll be there. We were at DC World Tour last week, so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Our more local would be like the Dreamin' event, like Midwest Dreamin'
Midwest
would
Dreamin'.
be kind of, which I'm sure they'd love some more sponsors, so you could always reach
Yeah.
out to them and maybe we'll
Actually,
see
we
you
were
there.
there with Eric. We were there in 2022. So
There you go.
yeah, in Midwest, and then Witness Success, right? So
Yep.
so this time, like you said, it's in Louisville, Kentucky.
The
So
Witness Successes, yep. And then
yeah,
Midwest Dreamin' is in Minneapolis, yep.
Minneapolis, yeah. And then I think Chicago has their Connect, right?
Yeah,
Salesforce
Connections.
Connections. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So
Yes, that's a good one too to call out. Are you guys gonna be at Connections?
I don't think so. It's more marketing, right? I mean, it's more marketing cloud and all that, because of and I think it's more retail, because of the fact all the orgs there. So yeah. I might be there, but not as a sponsor though. I might just go with the team just to hang out, I guess.
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
everyone for coming, and thank you very much, Ray and Ash, for your time to show us GridMate. And we'll be posting the video up, and you will see the link out into our chatter on this Trailblazer community. I still want to say success community. One of these days, I won't stumble on it. Probably right as they change the name again. We'll put the link up there, and of course, if you have any questions or follow-ups for Ray or Nas, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
You can reach out to I can say I can put I'll give you mine and Nas's email address. You guys can directly reach out to us at any given time. And if I'm just saying, even if you need to call us, it doesn't matter. Just reach out. And then thank you so much, Brian and team, for having us. And if you guys have any, you guys are doing any events, as in like the user groups and want any sponsorship, please do reach out, Brian. I'm more than happy to, support you guys. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any given time. Yeah.